poetry. Are you gone? Have you gone forever? No, poetry hasn't gone anywhere. Welcome back for your third episode of the KMAC Poetry Series. Thanks for tuning in to the third episode of the KMAC Poetry Series. We've got some great stuff on the way today, and I'm excited to share with you. Before we begin, I want to say thank you to KMAC Museum and Metro Government's Commission on Public Art for their support for this program. I hope many of you have had the chance to recently visit the KMAC Museum or engage with one of the many public artworks throughout the city. For this episode, our featured poets are Christopher DeRome and Gina Marie, who both live in Louisville. Their pre-recorded performance took place at the Love in the Street art installation located on downtown's 4th Street between Chestnut and Broadway, where both of our poets have their work permanently etched into the sidewalk. Our workshop segment for today that will help you hone in on your poetry practice will focus on list poems, where we'll use some creative rephrasing for ideas around a specific topic. I'm so glad you could join us. We're going to kick things off with a performance from our featured poets.
My name is Christopher DeRome, hanging out with my friend Lance in front of a poem that I wrote and they carved into the concrete in front of Mercury Ballroom on 4th Street in the favorite city in the world. I'm coming out here to read some poems. Now, I'm told that in war, if you're trying to beat the answers out of your enemy, you got to get them quick. And you know why? Because people start getting used to it. They're almost like, they're very relaxed. They're like, okay, I can take this. They're almost like a maniacal laugh. By 4th of July, I sort of have gone into that spot in my brain. I'd almost gone into a gentle submission of my own ego and anxieties. I was walking around my neighborhood trying to get lost, and I came upon a party of social distancers that were sitting in a circle. They told me that they go out there every Saturday night. I talked to them. It was wonderful. I got home and I wrote this poem. It's called The 4th of July. These moments make us beautiful. The wrinkles of time define beauty in lines where life flows seemingly effortless from its exact conclusions when in fact sacrifice and obstacle stood ground. Heave these many fears with the footsteps of thinking. I disappear from obligation. When walking, we choose our distance carefully, leaving all pressing issues at the starting gate. Cautious focus allows time to mitigate and find the answer who's relaxing at the finish line. The same place we started from. So walk until you're old or walk until you're young again. Sing before the song is finished to make up all the words. Dance with the audience of your internal movements. They never stop to hesitate, accepting life as it flows.
I'm Gina Marie. We are on 4th Street in Louisville, Kentucky, and in front of Bright Horizons. No? What? Oh! I am Gina Marie. I am on 4th Street in Louisville, Kentucky, right in front of my words in the concrete, stamp of approval down here. I got my own little Hollywood square. Well, it would be a Louisville square, I guess, huh? The streets. Attention, attention. All citizens. This is a public service announcement, and we need everybody to tune in for an important message regarding the future of our streets. Things are not like they used to be. People don't consider one another family, and instead of trying to give each other a hand up, everybody got their hands out. Everybody lighting fires and ain't nobody trying to put them out. It's like we're walking around without a heartbeat, while our young people are being devoured by wolves dressed as sheep, and the rest of us are asleep. The streets. It'll love you, then leave you for dead. It becomes a place where accepting poverty becomes the norm. Loud music, loud mufflers, and gunshots mixed with black and mild clouds and landmarks filled with teddy bears in memory of those who've been shot there. Where inebriated mothers are no longer raising their babies to be any better than they are, and it's far, far from a fairy tale or a princess's dream. In fact, it's scary. Scary to see so many young lives snuffed out, laid beneath fresh headstones in graveyards, and so many lost lives behind bars that they don't even realize that they're committing suicide. Because once they choose to pull the trigger to take one life, they end up taking two. And their life is gone too. And there's no chivalry in penitentiary when you're doing 25 to life the streets. It's become a cancer to our young people, entwining them in a deceitful web that tells them a dream that costs them much more than they should be willing to pay. When street credit is worth more than FICA scores, and there's no longer welcome mats lying on porches in front of front doors, where catching bodies is a known hobby and becomes more honorable than earning degrees. The streets, where loudmouth women birth loudmouth women and forget that their responsibility is actually to teach their daughters how to be ladies. Where males desert their families and leave their responsibilities on a single mother and the oldest sibling's shoulders. The streets. We gotta get back to being a village. Each one teach one. Each one reach one. It's our responsibility to let these babies know who they are, whose they are, and where they've come from. They're too easily forgetting their lineage with the praying big mamas in it. They need to know that they have worth. And though sometimes knowledge doesn't get dispersed for fear that it won't be received, say it anyway. They deserve to know that they are royal breeds dying out here like lowly peasants out here in these streets. They get so caught up in the appearance of winning that they can't even recognize that they're actually losing. And for every child that loses their life without getting a fair chance to live, we failed them. The streets, where gender reveals have replaced Sweet 16 parties and GoFundMe has replaced insurance policies for fools who put on for Facebook and took 1 million pictures with wads of cash in their hands. Flying for people they don't know, pretending to be the man. It's foolishness. Death certificates are being printed at a mass rate much higher than birth certificates in the community that raised me, and I'm sick of it. Where funeral homes are more packed than churches, and white t-shirts become mules for the ones that we've lost. But it ain't gotta be. If only we would do better, y'all. Because those in which we've birthed who are supposed to be put here to replenish this earth are quickly becoming extinct. And I don't know about you, but I think it's time for us to stand together and take back our streets. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. It is my prayer that they'll leave the things of this world and turn back to you.
We're back for your third episode, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I hope your new year has been good. It's been a new year. I'm kind of squatting down in the camera because I want to get close to you. I want to really feel what you're feeling. It's 2021, all right? We are at the beginning of a long uphill climb of getting over pandemics such as racism, such as COVID-19, such as people who like pickles, right? We're getting through these things and we're trying something new. Let's get to it, shall we? But before I start, I'll need a board. So today we're going to learn about list poems, all right? List poems are a fun way to make the mundane seem extraordinary, right? List poems are made when we create a list, all right? And we take that list, we imagine it in a different way, we rephrase, and we create something entirely new. So we're going to jump into that. So on your paper, hopefully you brought a piece of paper to the KMAC Poetry Series. On your paper, let's think of something that we want to do together. So let's do love, right? What are 10 things that we love? So on your paper, I want you to write things I love. Now remember, I told you all, what it does is it makes a list and then it thinks of a creative way to say the same thing without repeating the list, and we're reimagining them. We're thinking of them in a different tense. So I want you to go ahead on your list and write 1 through 10. When you're writing your list, please skip a line. This will allow us to reimagine our items on our list. And I wanted to do a list of 10 things we love because we don't make a list of those things. We can easily write a list of 10 things we hate, but the goal is to learn and also find encouragement from our writing. Okay? So I want you to go ahead and you list 10 things that you love. I will also write down 10 things that I love. And in the meantime, in between time, let us hear from our first feature. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to them. And while you're doing that, give me a list. When we get back, we'll hear more.
My apologies to my body. Have you ever had to tell your body that you were sorry? Like to my belly, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the extra fluff you have to carry because I can't control my hands. I can't lift the dumbbell, but I lift the fork until I can't lift it anymore, and my stomach is sore from all the garbage I filled it with when it should be stored from crunches. I'm sorry for the butterflies that ripples through you because of all the lies I allowed in my ears. I'm sorry for the nausea that came after I gave him all of me, and in public he pretends to not even know my name. I'm sorry to my eyes. I'm sorry for the visions that you see, but I won't allow my heart to fulfill. I'm sorry for every tear that was released as a result of fear. I'm sorry to my heart, for it alone is the most broken part because it beats off beat because of the bad decisions made by me. And I'm sorry for continuing to allow you to love then lose because of the foolishness that I choose to hold on to. I'm sorry for the damage I caused to you, the brokenness that ensues because I won't allow time for my brain to think and I act on impulse, which causes me to suffer consequences that I can't even imagine. And I push you to the brink of making your last beat. I'm sorry to my hands that have put in work, but my heart never seems to be in the right place. And so all the work I begin to create simply just goes to waste because I can't conjure up the energy to earn the victory. I'm sorry to my face because it is where I've placed the most embarrassment at into my feet. I'm sorry for treading lightly in places where I should have stomped loudly because I was built to stand strong. I'm sorry to my mind because if I could press rewind and travel back in time, maybe I could find you because I'm definitely feeling like you're lost and you pay the cost because so many ideals are birthed inside of you, but they never make it out of the confinement of where they are created. To my body, please accept my apology. I am so very sorry. Whew, it's cold.
That's my first poem. You know, when I was a child, when I was 11 years old, we moved from the forest of Massachusetts into a tomato packing plant in Palmetto, Florida. And I got into my classroom. It was in a cubicle, and there was a green typewriter, my first period in 6th grade. And it was a cool old typewriter. It had one of those iron sorts on it. The iron sort's kind of like a ball that when the machine vibrates and it like paps those numbers out. And I always kind of felt like I was one of those old iron sorts, like an alligator leaping or a viper snapping at you, or like a slap bracelet about ready to break, or like an unwanted kiss, you know? That's gonna be my next poem. It's called Lip Shut. I moved from Tewksbury. I played soccer in 1984, if you can believe it, by my youth. I give you love, make you water, see no God but feel its pressure. We leave our heavens ever quiet, void of curiosity. We blame our peers, hide our sins, close our eyes while moseying along with our changes. We lick each other's lips shut, hold each other's arms down, blow each other kisses blissful in the thistles. If the whispers went to wishing loud, then you would stand beside me for the rest of this evening. But I'm just a butterfly. Wings too big for my body. You, like the ocean, everything in one bowl. We help the other chase dreams and notice all the leaves change. Together we're a pocket knife, one tool for every job. We catch up with our fears and stand in line for freedom. Hold each other's shoulders down while staring into eyes. That comes from my book, Chicken Flavored Apples. Oh, yeah. I got to tell you, you can buy that at my restaurant. I own a restaurant. It's called Ostra. It's at 1758 Frankfurt Avenue. We're awesome. I also sing in a band called Ossifer if I can ever get these guys together. And recently, I put a project up on Spotify called Alpaca Lips, which is music with a pal of mine we've done together. Anyways, back to that classroom.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentle thems. I tell you all the time, Louisville has some of the best talent that the city, in the region, like some of the best talent in the nation, and it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. All right, so before our poetry break, right, we were supposed to be writing a list of things that we love. Come on, Mr. SpreadLove, what do you think we were going to write about? So right here I have my list, if you see. So I put chocolate, the beach, freedom, my kids, croissants, peeling glue off my hands, the number 7, comfortable shoes, art, and poetry. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of these, and I'm going to show you how we rephrase, how we tell our subject without saying our actual subject. And again, I always say poetry is writing or saying the same thing in a different way. So I'm going to go through a few of these and reword them, all right? And you will try your hand at rewording them on your paper. So like if I wanted to reword, I think freedom is an apt thing to start with. So we'll start with freedom. I want to reword freedom. Freedom, that Liberty bells sound as black presidents abound. That's how I describe freedom. List poems are literally like you're creating a definition, all right? You have your word and you want to define that word on your own terms in your own creative way, and this is your opportunity to do that. And then with my kids, I could say the ones who provide surprise laughter in our lives. So that's how I describe my kids, right? The ones who provide surprise laughter in our lives. Because I find things funny kind of here and there, but I find nothing funnier than my children for some reason. Like they literally will have me crying, laughing at least once or twice a day. So I'm going to keep going through this and kind of redo my words and give you my definitions for my words, for my list. All right. And then, until then, let's listen to some more poetry. Oh my goodness. Let's hear some more. Yes? Yes.
The typewriter helped me write my first poem. That's why I started writing poetry. I really had no desire to read anything. I didn't even want to think. I just wanted to shoot my basketball and listen to some music on my headphones. But then I looked down at the typewriter and like that old iron sword, I saw those letters and the numbers kind of wrote the poems for me. Do you know how that goes? Like you can look down and a typewriter is different than a pen. The pen floats. It's a poem itself the way the pen dances. But the typewriter, it tells you the beginning of words. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I. Think of the amount of words that I can do with the letter I. I'm going to try to read a poem now called Leaves in Fall. I wrote this on a typewriter. The letters helped me write it. We become colorful before we fall, so green and connected under the full sun. One day, someone will invent a long-handled tree rake to remove the leaves directly from the branches, thus eradicating the slow dance down and eventual buildup. You know, everybody thinks the leaves look so pretty when they turn to autumn colors, yet as soon as they hit the ground, yard work is required. Love is like leaves in fall. Nobody wants you once you've fallen. Being grounded is not as exciting as when we were floating. You always leaf in the spring. I get so colorful before I break. The greatest part of love's demise is when we jump from the treetops and are falling toward the ground. However, once we settle into our piles, we begin to decompose. I suppose love is like yard work. If you're looking to find a mess to clean up, well, in all of life you'll find it. Put that rake away. Let the worms have their fill.
Very dope.
Yes.
Oh, do me a favor. Read your piece.
Read it. I was birthed in this city from 1606 South 32nd to Americana Apartments South Side to 3840 Von Spiegel Southwick. Don't forget about Rashur Drive or Building 19 on Muhammad Ali. I came from the mud, but that's where seeds grow.
Okay, we're back. I mean, poetry is just amazing, right? Right? You don't have to tell me. I know. So, hopefully on your papers, you have written some stuff, all right? You have defined the list that you created, all right? This is my list, all right? These are some of the ways that I redid some of the words. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I did want to go through a few of them. So like, some of them were long, some of them weren't, some of them rhymed, some of them didn't, with a list poem, and it's all good. Like, peeling off glue on my hands, right? I said, exfoliation by Elmer's. Silly. For chocolate, I said, those treats bought in Valentine's name are purchased for my wife, but bitten by my fangs. I eat the chocolate in my house. It's a problem. I'm working on it. What can I say? And comfortable shoes, right? I said, I have had a lot of jobs working on my feet. A soft sole makes time more bearable. Think about where things match, where they don't. You can literally just start reading. The things I love, shaped like the moon, light and flaky, as if I bit into heaven. So, there you have it. Thank you so much for coming and checking out another KMAC Poetry Series. You know, in this time of social distancing and everything else, I'm glad that I can still bring you poetry, because believe you me, I am thirsty for it as much as you. So thank you all again for coming to another KMAC Poetry Workshop. Post your list poem. I would love to see them. I would love to hear them. All right. Until then, you all, spread love, write on, and stay safe.